Hi everybody, welcome to episode number 51 of Driftless Knitting. My name is Jennifer. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Driftless Knitter, and you can find the podcast on Ravelry if you search for Driftless Knitting under the Groups tab. I am finally back after a bit of a break. I recorded episode number 50 probably at the beginning of December, like the first week maybe of December, and now, first or second week I suppose, and now it is the first Sunday of January. It is January 7th today, 2018. Holy buckets, I cannot believe it's 2018 already. And it's about 12:30 in the afternoon, I suppose. Yeah, technically it's afternoon, so I'm coming to you from my apartment in Cross Plains, Wisconsin. I am taking advantage of the natural light that is coming through our sliding door, really the only window in this level of the apartment. So I have that, I'm looking out at it. It's right in front of me so that the light kind of hits my face well, which means that you get a view of our entire apartment today. So as you can see, we still have some Christmas decorations up. We have our bows and our garland up above the kitchen alcove area back there, and what you can't see is our Christmas tree just on the side of me. I was gonna take it down. I was thinking today is my first day off of the weekend, and I was gonna take it down today. I still might, but I plugged it in this morning just, to have it lit up one more time, and I don't know, there's something about it that is just so festive and bright and cheerful. And January is kind of a bleak month. January and February and March. Actually, March is kind of hard to get through too. But anyway, now that the holidays are over, all of our celebrations are over, it's kind of nice to have something to brighten up your space still. We might still keep, even if we take the Christmas tree down, we might still keep our garland on the banister, which isn't lit up right now, but it has lights on it too, so maybe that'll be the festive cheer that we keep around for a little while longer. Who knows? But yeah, I hope you all had a fantastic holiday if you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah, which was around the same time, or Kwanzaa, which starts, I believe, a day or two after Christmas, maybe? I don't know much about Kwanzaa, but I did learn a little bit more this year, and it is a fascinating holiday, and if you celebrate, then I hope you had a wonderful time. We certainly did. We had a very busy couple of weeks. Christmas itself was decently laid back, surprisingly. We did have a few get-togethers that weekend, with various branches of the family, both on Seaver's side and mine. And then last weekend, which was New Year's weekend, we had 3 or 4 more get-togethers, just because we still get together with a lot of our extended family, which I really love. My aunts and uncles and cousins, we still all get together and have family celebrations. But that does mean, a lot of time and a lot of preparation, driving, because we don't live too far away from our families, but it was a 2.5 hour, almost 3 hour drive down to my family in Illinois, and then we had to drive back up to Seaver's family, so it was just a lot of time in the car, a lot of wrapping and just making sure you have all the things ready. And as you can tell maybe by my voice, after all of that excitement, Seaver and I both came down with colds. So I've actually technically been sick since last Friday, so it's been a little over a week, and I'm still a little congested. I still have a little bit of, sinus stuff and a little bit of drainage, which, sorry, I hate that word, drainage. That's just such a gross word, but it's true. That's what's happening. And poor Seaver, oh man, he's been coughing and so stuffed up. Yeah, I really feel bad for him. He thinks he had a fever a couple nights ago. He got really cold and shaky and, muscle aches and stuff like that. So whether it's the flu or, a cold, not 100% sure, but I think he's starting to get some energy back, so that's good. And I'm feeling pretty good. Not 100%, but you know, better than I was. But anyway, I'm really glad to be back podcasting. I really did miss it, but there was no way I was going to fit more podcasts in during the weeks leading up to Christmas, because I was also doing Vlogmas every day. And for those of you who watch Vlogmas, thank you for watching and commenting. I did have a lot of fun. It was a bit of a challenge, I would say, just because most of my days seemed very similar to me, and so filming things that maybe were interesting or talking about things that would interest you guys was a bit challenging, though most of the time I just ended up like talking to you about what I was knitting, or about what Christmas movie I was watching, or how cold it was that day, or warm. We did have a couple warm days. So, you know, it wasn't like super exciting, but hopefully it gave you a bit of a glimpse into my life and into what, you know, everyday life is for me. I know that's what interests me about the vlogs that I watch, is just seeing kind of what fills up their day and how, you know, how people do things differently. And it's just, yeah, it's kind of interesting to get a glimpse into the, you know, behind the scenes of the podcast. So thank you again for watching, and all of those are up. I have days 1 through 25 up on my YouTube channel, so you can go catch up on those if you'd like. I didn't end up filming anything from our get-togethers last weekend. You know, there was a lot of people, and I was kind of videoed out by that point, so apologies for that. But yeah, we did have more festive times. It just didn't work out to film, really. So there are those 25 videos up on, I guess there's only 24 because one day I was sick and I did not record anything for that day for Vlogmas. So I explained that on kind of the next day. Apologies for missing one, but yeah, there was no way that day that I was going to record anything. So go catch up with those if you'd like, and yeah, I'll probably think about doing it again next year. It was definitely interesting to put together videos of my, oh sorry, that's Saber, he's upstairs, to see like glimpses of my day and kind of watch it back myself. And there's a couple that I'm really excited to have captured some moments, you know, days with my family and with Seaver. I maybe normally wouldn't record little snapshots of those days, and now I do have some record of that. It's kind of fun. It's like having home videos. So I was glad to do it, and I'll think about doing it again next year, or maybe doing Vlogtober instead of Vlogmas, who knows. But yeah, it was a good experience. So today I am drinking some coffee out of a brand new mug that I got from my soon-to-be brother-in-law, and he knew, or he, I guess, looked up on my Goodreads kind of what genres and what books I'm interested in. Saw a lot of Jane Austen books because I really do love Jane Austen, and I've read Pride and Prejudice like 3 times, and I've read almost all of her other books, whether in school or just on my own, and I really do enjoy them. So he got me this really cool mug with her, there's her portrait there, and then it has quotes from a lot of the books on it. And I like the look of it and the feel of it. It's got this like kind of cool square handle, which is kind of interesting, and it's nice and big and round. So I've drank out of this a couple of times, and I thought it'd be fun to show you one of my Christmas presents. I'll show you a couple more at the end. I don't really get too much like yarn or fiber related Christmas presents, which I think some people assume I would. So yeah, I did get a book that is knitting related. I'll show that to you too. But yeah, otherwise I got some really great things, but nothing really knitting or yarn related that I will show you on the podcast. So yeah, I also have a little emergency snack inspired by the Legacy Knits podcast. This is just the sort of crumbs at this point. I made banana bread last night, and seeing as it was almost noon already, I was getting a little hungry, so I'm gonna eat a little bit of that. Okay, so the first thing, that I want to talk about is the knit along that's going on right now in the Ravelry group. It is called the First Snow Cal, and it started the beginning of November, like November 12th, I think, is when I decided I wanted to do it, and that was like the day after I had podcasted, so that's why it's kind of a random date. But it was going to go until January 12th. I thought 2 months would be good, but seeing as we didn't get snow until like mid-December, like a real snow, I figure that, you know, we can extend it till the end of January. So give you a couple more weeks to do any more projects. If you have anything on the needles that you'll finish up or that you want to show on that thread before the end of January, you can do that. And you don't have to finish the object in order to qualify for a prize. As long as you're, you know, interacting, you're chatting with people, post pictures of your projects, then you'll be qualified for the prize. And I will show you that right now. So this, oh here, let me put my coffee down. So the prize that I will be drawing for at the end of January, or like, you know, February 1st, is some yarn from the company that I work for. So for those of you who don't know, I work for Knit Circus Yarns in Madison, Wisconsin. We are a dye studio mostly. We dye our own, we're known for our gradient yarns, but we have started to go into like variegated and speckled and tonals as well, and we sell online at knitcircus.com all over the world, and we also wholesale, so you might find our yarn in yarn shops. And I was lucky enough to have them donate to me once they found out I was doing a knit along, and we're trying to get, you know, kind of our yarn out there. So they donated, oh, look at that natural light. It's just picking up the colors so wonderfully. This is called Winter Wonderland, and I figured this was the perfect colorway to give away for the First Snow Cal. And you can see it gradients from like a blue-gray on the outside to a light gray, like right in there, and then it changes to like a minty green to a dark green. So this is 100 grams, which is around 400 yards of our Greatest of Ease base, which is 80% merino, superwash merino, and 20% nylon. And yeah. So that is going to be the prize, and I'll probably throw in some other like little goodies to go along with that, but that's the main thing. So make sure that you get your projects posted, put pictures up, put your progress up. You know, once you finish a project, if you've, you know, posted the early stages of it or something, post it again. Like I said, there isn't like a limit to, I mean, obviously don't post the same picture like 8 times or something, but there's not a limit to how many times you can post. And then if you are commenting and chatting with people, you know, that'll get you even more entries. So be sure to go to the Ravelry group and do that. And thank you to everybody who's participating already. We have about 40 posts, I want to say, and I've done a couple just because I want to participate in a sense as well. Of course, if I pick the number that's my own post, I will repick a number. I cannot win the prize, unfortunately, even though I love that colorway. So yeah, so I have some posts up there, but otherwise we do have quite a few people participating, which is really fun. And hopefully, you know, if you're just watching this and you didn't know about the knit along, hopefully you can post, you know, some projects if you've knit them from November 12th, no, you know, mid-November until now. Or if you're casting something on that you think would be good. Basically, it's just any project that is like snow themed, winter themed, or if it's, you know, good in the snow or something, good you know, for going outside in the cold weather. Speaking of cold weather, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go on a little tangent here. We have had some of the coldest weather. Oh my gosh, I've experienced colder. We had, a few years ago, we had like the winter vortex or something. Is that what, I don't know if that's exactly what it's called, but I remember with wind chill, it was like -70. But for about a week straight, it has been below 0. And then with the wind chill, it's been, you know, even colder. Usually the temperature the past couple mornings when I've gone to work has been like -5 to -2, and that's without wind chill. And today, it's amazing. Today it got up to 30 right now. Looking at the thermometer, it's 29.4 degrees Fahrenheit, which feels like a heat wave. Seaver is actually at the moment, well, I don't know if he's doing it at the moment, but he was.
Lake County Park.
Yeah, he's making plans for us to go to a county park around here, and we're going to, are we going to hike or are we going to snowshoe?
We're going to hike.
We're going to hike. Oh, there's not much snow left. Okay. So we're going to hike and still probably bundle up a little bit, but you know, 30 degrees and it's fairly sunny out. It's probably going to be, you know, pretty nice out there. So we'll get outside, get some fresh air, and enjoy the weather. So yeah, exciting that it's a little warmer today. So I'm going to move on to my works in progress. I have a couple I've been working on since the holidays and since all of my gift knitting is done. I do have quite a few finished objects that I won't be able to show you because I've already given them away. And since I didn't podcast for a couple of weeks, you know, there's actually quite a few. Though the good thing is that if you watch my Vlogmas, you will see probably progress with that because I did, you know, show off my knitting projects on those videos. So the first one I'm going to show you is really exciting. I've showed this off quite a bit. Every day for Vlogmas, I pretty much showed you this yarn because this is my Advent knit, and I opened a mini skein of yarn every single morning for from December 1st until December 25th. And I, unfortunately, because I was knitting so many gift projects and all that stuff, I wasn't able to keep up with it. I'm also knitting it a little bit bigger than it's supposed to be, so that's kind of adding time to it, but that's all right. So I am up to, I think, I'm about halfway done. I'm up to like day 13 or 14, and yeah, I'm still, you know, plugging away. Last week I did, I think, 3 colors. I finished 3 colors, and I wound up the next couple. So I'll show you the progress first, and then I'll show you the next skein that I'm going to knit with. So this is my Mountain of Minis wrap from Sam Troya, who is one of the bumblebees from Bumblebee Acres Yarn, and that is where this yarn comes from. It's hand-dyed. This is the Happy Christmas Harry Potter Advent calendar. They had 3 themed Advent calendars: Harry Potter, Downton Abbey, and then just like a winter Christmas type calendar that was just sort of generic Christmas colorways, I believe. So this is my Harry Potter one, and I actually think I remember all of the colorway names. I do have them like written down and saved so that I know for sure when I'm done with this, but I think I can go through it for you. So the first one is Pygmy Puff, and the second one is Birdie Bot's Every Flavor Beans. Then we have Helga Hufflepuff, Butterbeer, the 3 Broomsticks, Flue Powder, Chamber of Secrets is the bright green and black and gray, and then it's Salazar Slytherin. Hopefully this is still in the, yep, that's still in the frame. Potions is the like purpley green and pink. Flitwick's Christmas Tree is this one right here, and then the last one I did is Winter in Hogsmeade, I believe. I have, like I said, I have it written down. So these are all, like I said, Harry Potter themed, which is amazing. I had so much fun opening this. It was like a gift every morning. Like, I knew that, you know, the next day I'd open another one, but still it was just kind of like someone gave me a present. It just felt so cool. And technically someone did give me a present. So this was a gift from my very, very good friend Lisa, that lives up in Winona, where I lived until, you know, a few months ago. We moved down to the Madison area, and she gave this to me, I almost want to say like over the summer, because it was over the summer, because I officially moved September 1st, and I worked up there until the end of August, and then moved all my stuff down here. And whew, you guys heard all about that because I was still podcasting at the time, and that was a very stressful couple of months. But so she gave this to me as like a going away present, and as like a Christmas present, you know, because obviously I wouldn't be getting it until November. So that was really cool of her, and I just felt so lucky. I mean, I never would have been able to experience this. It's, you know, advent calendars are expensive. And with moving and just all these changes in my life, now Seaver and I are planning our wedding. I didn't have a job for a couple months when I moved, so I wouldn't have treated myself to something like this. And to have, you know, a good friend of mine do this for me and, you know, give me this gift was just amazing. So, and Bumblebee Acres is one of my favorite yarn dyers. I love their yarn so much, and I really love that I almost have like a sampler of all of their Harry Potter yarns. Some of these aren't available yet as like full skeins, but when they are, if they do become available, I'll be able to see how they knit up. And, you know, if I want to order one, I can choose, you know, which color I want. So the next color that I'm going to add in here after the Winter in Hogsmeade, hang on one thing. Okay, so in my in my Vlogmas episode when I opened this one, which is Flitwick's Christmas Tree, I just about died because this is so perfectly Christmas. I'm dead set on getting a full skein of that. Hopefully they sell full skeins of this colorway for my Christmas Eve cast on next year. I really, really want socks in that colorway. Anyway, that's my plan. I'm already planning 2018 Christmas Eve cast on. And I just dropped my ball of yarn. Okay, so the next color I'm going to put in there is this one, and this is the Hogwarts Express. So we have the red of the train, there's black in there, I don't know if you can see the black, the blue of the sky, and some white as well as, you know, like the clouds and the steam. I think this is perfect for the Hogsmeade Express. I'm curious to see how it's going to knit up. It looks like there's a lot of red, so I'm thinking maybe that's like the main color, and then the blue and black and gray is just kind of going to be like, you know, little pieces throughout it. So I'm really interested to see how that is. I saw that colorway when they first came out with it, like in a twisted skein, and you know, I was in love with it, but I was curious to see like how are those colors going to play out. Is that going to be like way too much contrast, you know, for me, because I'm not like a huge, I like subtle colors, and I just wasn't sure if I would want a whole project knit out of that, but I loved the skein. I loved the colors in it, so I'm really excited. So that is living in, all my other minis are at the bottom of this bag too. That is living in my little skein in the Big Woods Laura Ingalls Wilder bag. I've had this for several years and it's still one of my favorites. I'm pretty obsessed with Laura Ingalls Wilder and her books and her life. So that's living in here. The kit did, or the advent calendar did come with a bag. I did not use that for this project because I kind of forgot that it came with a bag. It was like tucked underneath the yarn until almost like I was done with the advent calendar. So that's still kind of, you know, put away, but I was using this instead, so I just kept them in here. And yeah, it fits up pretty well. It's a little squished in there, but not too bad. And once all the minis are wound up and or knit in, it'll be totally fine. So that one is slowly but surely coming along. Like I said last week, I'd knit I think 2 or 3 of the colors, and otherwise I've been working on this project, and this is one you guys haven't seen yet, except for maybe on my Instagram or pictures of it on the First Snow Cal thread. I have posted pictures of this, so, but not as it is right now. So I have a hop, which, yeah, is a term that I kind of came up with, half of a pair of socks, because I don't like the term half object. Yeah, anyway, I've gone on about that. Every time I use this term, I feel like I have to explain it, even though some of you have watched, you know, episodes from the very beginning and you've heard me talk about this, but then I do have some new subscribers, so yeah, maybe you'd be confused if I just left it at, this is a hop. So instead of saying that this is a half object, like a lot of people say with like one of a pair of socks, technically this is a full knitted object. I just don't have the, you know, the other sock to complete the pair. So I have a half of a pair. And these are my Christmas Eve cast-on socks. I knit this out of Three Sisters Fiber Company, which is Lisa, my friend, in Winona. And this was a colorway that she named my favorite flannel. And I really loved the colors just in general, but then I think I got, oh gosh, I got this like early summer of last year. I started looking at it as like a holiday colorway, as a Christmas color, and just completely fell in love. So I love how the greens and reds are very subtle. They even kind of go into like a faded pink at times, and there's a little bit of blue, like, oh gosh, you can't even, just a tiny touch of blue here and there, which I just really think is cool. So I knit the Mistletoe Kisses socks, and this is a pattern by Mina Phillip of the Knitting Expat podcast, and it came with the sock clubs that she's doing for 2018, and I joined both of her sock clubs. So she did one, they're like every other month, the sock club, unless you join both of them, and then you get a sock pattern every single month. But this was kind of a free one that came with it as like a bonus. So when you signed up for the sock club, you got this one automatically, and I signed up in November, I believe, so I had this pretty early on, and I knew I wanted to knit this pattern for my Christmas Eve cast-ons. So you can see it just has a really subtle texture at the top, and this is done by sort of wrapping the yarn around the stitches. I won't go into like too much detail because again, you have to sign up for the sock club to get the pattern, but I really love the look of this. I love that it's really mindless. Every like 4 rows you do this sort of wrapped stitch, and then you just get to knit for the whole thing. And I didn't do the pattern on the other side of the leg. I think in the pattern she says not to unless you would prefer it. So I just kept going with the stockinette on the back. I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel right there, which I love the fit of, and I'm so excited to have more socks with a Fish Lips Kiss heel. I think I only have 1 or 2 pairs, and they are my favorite socks to wear. that, and I'm finding socks with a heel flap fit me really, really well. I have 2 pairs with a heel flap as well, and the Fish Lips Kiss and the heel flap are the best fitting socks I've ever made. They don't stretch out very easily. They don't slip off my foot if I've worn them for like an entire day or two. They're awesome. So I'm really excited to get these done so that I can wear them. I haven't blocked this one yet. I just sort of slipped it on the sock blocker to show you guys, but I think I'll soak them when they're both done and then just dry them so that they have that first wash and so that the stitches sort of smooth out, but it looks pretty good even without a block. So I finished that one the other day, and then I think it was last night only when Sierra and I were watching Netflix, I cast on the next one. So I have a little bit of the toe done, and that first row, I think I have 1 row of the pattern on there. And this stitch marker is one that I got from Beth, and she is BB Knitter on Ravelry. Ravelry? I know you are on Instagram, but anyway. And she sent this to me along with the bag that this is being housed in. And this one actually used to have my Mountain of Minis, my Advent knit, in it until I wanted to do my Christmas Eve cast on, and I wanted to use this bag because it's my only Christmas bag. And Beth sent this to me as part of the Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted this year. I asked for a Christmas themed bag, and she messaged me saying that she was starting to make bags and would love to make one for me. So along with this, yeah, if you would have seen a couple episodes, or was it just last episode? Because it's been a few weeks. Yeah, it may have been. I went on and on about the package that she sent me because not only was this in there, she also gave me another bag, a skein of yarn, a bunch of little treats like that stitch marker. Just really spoiled me. So that was super fun. But this is my deer and cardinals bag. I love it so much. It's so festive without being like Santa Claus. You know, I don't know. I love these sort of like alternate holiday sort of themes. And she is Prickle Stitch Yarns on Etsy. I think I got that right. I wrote it down. Prickle Stitch Yarn. Yep, on Etsy. So go check out her bags. She is dabbling with the idea of dyeing yarn, I believe. She sent me a skein of her hand-dyed yarn, which is gorgeous. And she might be starting to do that in a little while, but I don't know if I haven't checked her shop in a while, so I don't know if she has yarn up in her shop yet. But yeah, I have my ball of yarn in there. I have quite a bit of this left, so I'll be able to get, you know, my full sock, and then I'll have some, probably quite a bit extra. I'll figure out what to do with that, besides putting a square in my cozy memory blanket. And yeah, that's about it. I'm excited to have gotten that second sock cast on because I could have easily, very easily, just sort of put that off and gone on to a new project that I'm really wanting to start. But I feel like now that I got that toe cast on, it's going to be kind of smooth sailing to get the rest of the sock done. I still have to do the second sock of my Snowfall socks by Tabitha Gandy of the Hey Sister podcast. I knit the first one for the first snow cal, and then I wanted to, you know, pick up different things for Christmas projects and everything, and I never got back to that pair of socks. So that's on my list to finish up. But I have a lot of things on my list. So my only FO that I can show you today, because the other ones have gone to their new homes, is one that is also a Christmas present, but I haven't had a chance to see the recipient yet. And I'm pretty sure she doesn't watch the podcast, so I can show it. I won't say who it's for, you know, on the off chance that she decides to. She's not a knitter, so the off chance she decides to click on this episode. But this is the Zuzu's Petals cowl. And I showed this quite a bit on my Vlogmas because I think I showed it when it was halfway knit, and then when I'd finished knitting it, and then when I'd finished blocking it. You kind of got to see the stages of this because the yarn that I knit this in is so amazing. And I'm really jealous of the person I'm giving this to because this is so soft and smooth and beautiful. This is some hand spun that I spun a few years ago, and it is 50% merino and 50% silk. So pretty freaking amazing. This has such a great sheen to it. Oh, and the light's probably gonna blow it out, but and the way that I spun it, I don't know how I kept the colors together because I did not do this on purpose where I applied the same colors together. Like, I always kind of tried to do that, but it never ends up really working that well. But here it almost like striped a little bit because the colors were so similar when they were applied together. Down here there's a little bit more barber poling in the skein, but I don't really mind. And this cowl is one that comes in 2 different weights in the instructions. There's a worsted weight and a sport weight in the directions. And this is the worsted weight version. So yeah, it went by really quick. I had a lot of fun knitting it. The lace at the bottom is pretty intuitive once you get going. And yeah, I could definitely foresee doing another one. I think it looks beautiful on. It has that great, you know, look of a shawl around your neck without, you know, having to worry about ends. The lace makes it really feminine, but it's also going to be really warm on, you know, for her. So yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm excited to have knit with more of my hand spun. I have a whole bin upstairs of hand spun yarn, and I never really get it out. I never really knit with it. So I have a couple of things that I've knit and that I really like, but I need to refer to that a little bit more. Just take advantage of the yarn that I've created, and yeah, and not just think of, you know, only my commercially made yarn when I'm picking out something for a project. So yeah, so that was great. I really enjoyed knitting that, and I can't wait to give it to her. Okay, so the next thing on the list is to show you a couple of things that I've gotten since the last time we talked. Like I said, I haven't really, you know, gotten too much yarn in the last few weeks. And I did get a couple of books though for Christmas. And this first one I'll show you is not yarn or knitting related, but I'm so excited about this. And I even mentioned, you know, in this episode how much I love Laura Ingalls Wilder. So this is a new book that has just come out recently called The World of Laura Ingalls Wilder. And this copy is actually autographed. Jill got it from my sister Jill got it from a book, it's not really a book fair, but she works for a library system, and she was at a conference, and part of this conference was there were booths and tables set up with books, and, you know, all the librarians and the people who work in library systems, they could go around and buy books. So this was at a table, and she saw it and recognized it because I had sent her a picture of it a while ago. I saw it in a bookshop, and you know, thought it'd be a great present idea. So sent her a picture of it, and then she saw it and bought it, and little did she know this was an autographed copy, so even better. So this just has a lot of great pictures. It talks about, you know, the different areas in the country where Laura grew up, just, you know, kind of melding her fiction with historical fact. You know, there's pictures of some of the towns that she grew up in, and information about, like, I think this is about farming, because her father was a farmer for a little while until they moved to South Dakota, and then he opened up a store. So just about like the soil, why they planted certain crops. She'll talk about in her books, they planted wheat in Minnesota, and, you know, just she mentions different aspects of their life as farmers, and so it kind of delves into the history of the areas, you know, where they lived. So really interesting. I mean, not only that, but there's also information about the animals, about the flowers. Laura talks a lot about the flowers on the prairie, things like that. The railway that played a huge part in their lives out west, and yeah, so it's just a really interesting book. I'm excited to, you know, to go through it and learn more about one of my favorite authors and historical figures. So that was a really, really good gift. I was excited about that. And the other book I got is knitting related, and this one is Knitting Pearls by Anne Hood, or edited by Anne Hood. It is a compilation of essays and stories written by different writers. And what's cool about this book, I have the first one too, called, I think it's Knitting Yarns. I think that's what it's called. And it's written by authors that you don't necessarily associate with the craft of knitting. So these aren't always pattern designers or, you know, like just names that we would know in the knitting industry. They are, like, Barbara Kingsolver is in the first book, and, you know, fiction writers, nonfiction writers, journalists, you know, and they all talk about how knitting has made an impact on their life, or a time in their life when, you know, knitting really stood out. Some will talk about how they were in college and the only way them and their college, like, girlfriend could bond was she taught him how to knit, and then they ended up breaking up, but he, like, kept this scarf that he made for, you know, just things like that. Or a time where, you know, getting over a hard time in life, grieving, and having knitting be, you know, kind of a solace. So just really, really interesting essays. I'm excited to read this one. I didn't even ask for this for Christmas. My mom got this, and now that I'm looking at the back of it, it's from Yarnology, so I don't know how she got this. That's really interesting. Because when I still worked there, I don't think this had come out yet, unless I have just forgotten picking this out and telling her to buy this for me. Maybe she got in touch with Kelly and Gabby and asked what I had and what I didn't have. I don't know. That's really interesting. This is from the yarn shop I used to work at. So that's kind of cool. I didn't even realize. But yeah, I was completely surprised by this, and yeah, it was a great gift. I'm excited to read it. And yeah, I definitely recommend this one, and, well, I haven't read this one yet, but the first one's really good, so I'm assuming this one's gonna be great too. So yeah. The one yarn that I did get over the past 2-3 weeks, however long I haven't spoken to you guys, is one from Knit Circus, where I work. And this one I actually just picked up recently with a little bit of Christmas money. I do get a discount there, so it makes buying yarn easier, especially this yarn. But this was one that I had been holding off on getting for about a month. We came out with this one beginning of December or late November. And I have just been staring at it for, you know, about a month and a half now. And this is the last skein of the base that I really like. So I thought, you know, I have Christmas money. I have waited and held off for as long as I can. And if this gets sold, I would have been very sad and disappointed. So I figured that was licensed to buy it. So this is a colorway called Wild Rumpus. And this is a impressionist style of dyeing that we do, and it is still gradient. It's still going to change color. So you can see it has that dark blue, dark teal on the outside, and then it goes into like a mossy green on the inside. So, and in between it's kind of, you know, lighter blue and some white speckles and different shades of green. So unlike this one that is straight, you know, pieces of color that will change, you know, not abruptly, but they will, you know, change in order. This one is going to turn out way more speckly, so I'm going to have like that dark teal and white, and then there's going to be a little less of the teal, more of the white, and then more of like, you know, different shade of blue. It's just going to change very subtly. And I haven't knit with this type of yarn yet that we dye, but I really love the look of it in all the samples that we have. And this is on our trampoline base, which is 100% US superwash merino, and I love, this is like a 2-ply, like a really bouncy 2-ply, and I just love the look of it. I love how it takes the dye. I love how it looks knit up. So yeah, this is probably my favorite base of the bases that we sell. Though the greatest of ease, which is what this one is really, really nice as well. It just has a different ply. And this one's great for socks. We do all of our sock sets in this base because of the nylon in it. And this is a fairly new base that we just added. They just added about 1.5 years ago. So relatively new. Otherwise, Greatest of Ease was always kind of the go-to fingering weight, kind of our workhorse yarn. So yeah, so I'm really excited about that. I'm not sure what I'm going to knit yet, but there's some shawls that I have in mind. I'm really, really loving the Amba O'Brien shawls, and it might be because we have a bunch of her samples, of her shawls in Knit Circus Yarns, and I see them every day, and a lot of people that come into the shop are knitting her shawl patterns. So I want to maybe try out a couple of hers, but I'm not 100% sure yet. It's going to be kind of fun to pick out a project for that. So the next thing that I'm going to cast on has to do with some of my knitting goals that I have for 2018, and I'm not going to set like strict knitting goals. I want to get through a lot of my stash. I don't want to buy a whole lot of yarn unless I'm, you know, visiting a yarn shop or at a show or something. That's kind of a goal I've had for the last couple years, though, you know, it's always hard to resist, especially when you work for a yarn company. But I also want to knit more garments. So last year, 2017, I only knit one sweater for myself. And while I love shawls and accessories and I love to knit them, I've been really, really wanting to knit more sweaters. I like putting on my hand knit sweaters, I like wearing them, but I only have a few that really fit me really well. One reason being that when I first knit, you know, my first couple of sweaters, I didn't check gauge. They don't fit quite right. Even this one that I'm wearing right now, which I kind of forgot to mention at the beginning of the podcast, this is the Tea Leaves cardigan that I knit 2 years ago. It'll be 3 years this upcoming fall. This one, I love knitting it. I loved the pattern. I loved the yarn, everything. But it doesn't, I don't know, it fits me well enough, but the neckline is kind of droopy, and I don't know, it's just not, I don't really wear it outside of the house. And I think this is my first time this year, this season, wearing it. So I want to knit more sweaters that I know I'm going to wear a lot, that are very versatile. I want to knit more pullovers. I've only knit one pullover, I believe, and there's quite a few in my queue and on my list that I want to make. And so for my first project of 2018, I'm going to start with that goal. So Yarnology always does a New Year's, a January sweater challenge, and I've done it for the past, you know, I think this is the 4th year, And when I was working there, of course, it was really easy because everyone was getting excited. You'd swatch like a month beforehand. You already had your pattern picked out. This year, it totally snuck up on me, but I still want to participate. So I was trying to decide which of my sweater quantities of yarn that I wanted to knit with and which pattern. So I did throw it out there on my stories. I did like one of those polls, which was the first time I've ever done that on Instagram. It was actually really fun to check the results of that from those of you who voted. And people almost like, I think like 75% of people wanted me to knit with the DK yarn that I had in my stash. And while that's probably a better idea because it'll go faster, and the pattern that I have in mind for that yarn is a very simple pattern, I've kind of opted for this other yarn and pattern that I have. So I've had this yarn in my stash for maybe 4 years. And this is actually it's like 2 skeins. I had to wind it separately because it's massive. So this is Miss Bab's yarn, and it came in this gigantic skein that was practically the size of a newborn baby. And it's like 1,800 yards or something like that. So it's enough for a fingering weight sweater. I think I will even have about 300 yards left over, so we'll see what I'm going to do with that. But I have been wanting to knit a pullover with this yarn for maybe a year now, and I've had it in the back of my head, and now I've just decided I'm going to do it. So this is just a really pretty beige base with some tans and blues, dark blue, light blue. I absolutely love it. I did a gauge swatch out of this and it knit up so cool. I am not one of those people who does like a really big gauge, binds off, blocks it. I should, but as long as I know that I have like relatively the right gauge, I'm not going to be, I don't know. I just don't want to block my gauge swatches. And I don't want to knit more than like that much of a gauge swatch. So I know I'm hearing lots of people probably yelling at me for that, but whatever. At least I gauge. Some people don't even do that, so. But yeah, so this is going to be a really, really fun sweater. And what I'm going to knit with it, or knit it into, I should say, is out of the first ever Lane magazine. And it is the Piece of Silver pullover by Vera Valimaki. I love Vera Valimaki's patterns. I've knit one of her sweaters before, and have been wanting to knit another one. I own several of her patterns, plus an ebook, plus whatever, you know, she has patterns in different magazines and books. So this one came to mind. I love the neckline, the turtleneck right there, and she has it kind of cropped, but I think I'm gonna knit it, you know, kind of a full-length sweater. I've seen some pictures of different sweaters on Ravelry that are a little bit longer in the body, so I'm not really a super big fan of cropped sweaters, just because, I don't know, in the weather that I'm gonna be wearing it in, it doesn't really make sense. Plus, I kind of have like larger hips, so I don't want something that's gonna like come right to them, because I feel like that just accentuates them a little bit more. I don't know, maybe I'm completely wrong about that, but I just would feel more comfortable if it came, you know, down a little bit past my like pant line. So like I said, I gauge swatch for this. I'm good to go. The only thing is that I realized I don't have the right needles. It starts out with a size US 2 16-inch for the collar, and I don't have a 16-inch size 2, surprisingly. So I thought maybe I could fit all the stitches on a 24-inch, but I just think that's going to be stretching it. So I'm going to wait. I can wait another like day and a half until I go to work and buy a set of needles then. So, but I'm really excited. One of my other semi goals for this year is to knit more out of my books and magazines that I have. It's so easy to get caught up with the new pattern that's come out on Ravelry, the latest trend, and I definitely will knit some of those, or at least save those in my Ravelry favorites. But I already own so many great patterns that what's the point of buying these books, buying these magazines, buying patterns on Ravelry if I'm never going to use them, if I just keep adding new ones. So I'm really going to make that a goal to go through my books and get inspiration from them before I turn to, searching Ravelry for a new pattern. So I'm really excited. Lane is one of my favorite knitting magazines that has come out in the last couple of years. I have all 3 of them, and I cannot wait to knit some patterns out of this. Once I start with this one, I'm gonna, go to the next one, see if there's one in there, and just sort of like work my way through my knitting library. That's what they're there for, right? So yeah, I'm excited. I also have a goal of knitting Seaver a sweater this year. We are getting married, so I don't have to worry about the curse of the boyfriend sweater anymore. And he has been asking for one, so that's really cool. We're gonna probably pick it out together and pick out the color and everything. So I'm excited for that, and it's going to be included for the epic along that Grace of the Babbles Traveling Yarn podcast, Babbles Traveling Yarns, I think I got that right, is doing it on her podcast. She's also wanting to knit a sweater for her boyfriend, and to kind of give her inspiration and stuff, she's doing a knit along, because I guess her boyfriend is tall, much taller than her, and wears a pretty large size, so she's a little intimidated about knitting him a garment. But this way we're all kind of knitting them together, and it doesn't have to be, I guess, it doesn't have to be a garment for your significant other. It can be just a big project that you have been putting off, or that you really want to knit, and 2018 is going to be the year to do it. So yeah, so I'm very excited, and I can't wait to pick that out too. Okay, everybody, I think that is it for me today. Seaver and I are going to go out and enjoy the nice weather, and I'm really excited to be back. I will talk to you guys again very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching if you're a returning viewer. I appreciate every single one of you. And if you are a new viewer, thank you so much for watching this episode and hopefully watching the next one. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Alright guys, thanks again for watching. I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye!
I'll run upstairs.
Okay.
And hide.
Alright. I'm gonna try and forget that you're here. No offense. But I get, nervous
Yeah, camera shy.
when someone's actually listening to me.
Okay.
Okay, I forget what I was saying.